The essence for Nordic cuisine for me is, I think it's using a lot of wild ingredients. I think it's foraging. I think it's light flavors. A lot of shellfish and fish, stuff from the sea, seaweed. So when I'm trying to create a dish, I always start with the main ingredient as the focus. Then I work with that ingredient and try to make that ingredient reveal like a hidden side for me. So yeah, it's very much product based, and then it's of course it's always the flavor. So like trying to combine different flavor combinations. It is all something you have to work with in the kitchen until all of a sudden you get to some like a magic combination. So yeah, it's the ingredient is number one. Because of the seasons, it's like a circular thing. We have 4 seasons, of course, but so you always after a year you're coming back. It's like we have asparagus, white asparagus, for example, in Denmark. It's a very short season, and then. So it's like I think we're bumping into the same ingredients again and again each year, and of course you don't have to use exactly the same ingredients each year, but many times you end up coming to this like for example asparagus again, and then it's all about, because I don't feel satisfied doing what I did last year, so then it's time for you to creativity to kick in and combine it in a different way, make the dish in a different way where it feels fresh and new. I wouldn't call it new Nordic cuisine anymore. It's because it's not that new anymore. It's like 15, maybe almost 20 years old. The evolution for me is that it started out in maybe being a little bit like a teenager, being a little bit extreme and being a little bit, we were maybe sometimes it was not that pleasing to, but it was very interesting, and I think we have matured over the years, and I think the Nordic cuisine is more pleasing and in a more traditional way maybe, and but still, it always has to be interesting. But also the way I've seen it evolve is that it started in the Nordic countries, and now I see that the thought process behind it has kind of spread out to many places in the world. So and it's all about using your own place in the world, not looking to other countries to bring in their products, but using your own food culture and your own ingredients. As a chef, you always need to acknowledge that in the end it's all about the taste. But having said that, sometimes you can actually influence that. You can make, I think, that by making a dish very interesting, and it can be by making like it could be like a very beautiful dish, a very aesthetic dish, or like a shocking dish, or whatever, but that's a way of waking up the guest and kind of so waking up the guest and making the guest interested, and that way you're gonna taste the dish even more than you would if you didn't kind of wake up. And that's how I use aesthetics or visual expressions. It's a kind of to keep the interest and to get people engaged in the dish. But for the last couple of years, there's been like a resurgence to cooking as old school as possible, where it's like it has to be under open flame, has to be grilling, it has to be, and but still, of course, we still use little tricks from the more modern cooking techniques. But I think the new thing right now is to cook as old school as possible. The way you keep creativity alive, I think it's by, sometimes as a young chef you're burning the candle in both ends. I don't know if you know that expressions, but and I've been doing that for many years, and then sometimes you find out maybe it's enough just to burn it in one end, and because if you want to have like a long life with cooking. You shouldn't burn yourself out. But I don't, it's difficult to give a recipe but I think it's the most important thing, because I think the most important thing for a chef is to create new dishes, and so if you don't feel happiness doing that, it's going to be a rough life. So for me, it's if you're starting as a chef in AOC, of course it's very good if you're a very good chef, but what I'm looking for the most is if you are engaged, if you have commitment, and also, people cook different in all restaurants, so it's also like you're coming to a new restaurant, it's gonna be, if you come to AOC, I'm gonna teach you how I want things to be done. So, the most important thing for me is that when I feel that people really want to be there, they have to really enjoy being in the kitchen, and they have the motivation has to come from within.